Hi, my name is Jana, and welcome to A Reasoned Faith. I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, and today we're going to talk about 3 reasons why I would never be a Jehovah's Witness again. The 3 reasons are obviously not comprehensive, and they're not listed in any particular order, nor are they even the most important reasons why I wouldn't be a Jehovah's Witness, but they're just 3 that popped out into my head when I was asking myself this question. Number 1, the lack of beauty. The Jehovah's Witness organization is very businesslike and sterile, and their buildings match that. They're very box-shaped generally and very bland. There's very little color being used, and you won't find hardly, if any, art inside. And as many people have pointed out to me and asked, why are there never any windows? Well, actually, some do have windows, in case you were wondering. However, the lack of windows and art and beauty is generally for a money-saving reason. Although they would also steer clear of art or, let's say, symbols or statues, because they would say that that's borderline idolatry. But this lack of beauty is so dull and tiring. We need beauty. We are physical creatures, and beauty points us to God. When I look at beautiful stained glass scenes or beautiful statues depicting the life of Jesus, I feel moved. But staring at blank walls is a really easy way to feel disillusioned. Number 2. Boring conversations. The thing about being raised as a Jehovah's Witness is that you actually are allowed to ask questions, as long as they're the ones prescribed for you in the recent copies of the Watchtower. And then after you ask them, you should be able to find them in the paragraphs. You see, the Jehovah's Witness organization functions in a very insular way, and you're discouraged from reading material that wouldn't align with what you've already heard. Anything that sounds slightly unfamiliar to what you could read in a Watchtower is automatically suspicious. It's viewed as possibly apostate. For this reason, you can't ask questions that sound like they didn't come out of a Watchtower, or are related to a Watchtower, or to some other kind of Jehovah's Witness literature. And that makes for some really boring conversations where it feels like you're just going in circles with memorized lines back and forth to each other. So if you're in the organization and you try to step out of the box in a conversation, so to speak, that's going to make people really uncomfortable. They're going to avoid you, they're going to shut down, they might even go tell the elders that possibly something is up with you. So it was really refreshing to leave that kind of environment. Number 3, the Jehovah's Witness organization is actually completely devoid and detached from true and accurate Christian history. The Jehovah's Witnesses start their history with a little sprinkling from the Reformation. They might passively mention Luther or Calvin or Tyndale and try to make it sound as if they were part of them, even though there is no way that those men would ever agree with witness theology. But typically, Jehovah's Witnesses do not know about any kind of theology outside the realm of their own. It's because they believe that soon after the apostles died, everything went south and everybody became apostate in the Great Apostasy, and true worship was not restored until the 1800s. The 1800s, when Charles Taze Russell came on the scene and enlightened everyone. And no, Jehovah's Witnesses are not going to read Christian history. They are not going to read what Luther or Calvin or Tyndale wrote either. The majority have definitely never read the church fathers or even heard of them. They probably wouldn't know what a church father is. They think they're really educated because they get a lot of literature from the organization and they read that. However, they're very uneducated with regards to the history of Christianity. And I'm not trying to be harsh. That was me before too. Thank you for watching, and I hope you'll come back to reason through some more theology with me. If you want, click subscribe and like. I would really appreciate it.